Good morning, Blaine Austin here at Stitch It International, and welcome to the Hoop and Stitch event for March. It's all about embroidery. Welcome to the show. Thank y'all very much for joining in. Before we get started in the show, we got to say a shout out to some of the Stitch Nation out there today. Hey, we got Sherry up in New York watching. We have Cheryl. Cheryl has an MAS 15, so thank you for that purchase. MAS SWF. Look at her go. Hey, we have Angela Dixon over in Louisiana watching. Norma Coffin, my old buddy out in California. She's in San Marcos, California. So good morning, Norma. We have Scoop of the Hoop watching in New York today. We have Debbie Williams in Virginia Beach. Loose Stitches. That's a pretty good name, Roger. Loose Stitches in Nashville. We have Blue Bobby, Baby, I guess, Babby. That's it, Blue Babby in Alabama. Sandra Cummins in Texarkana, Texas, and the Dyed Quilter watching today. And so welcome everybody to the show. Y'all say good morning to Rockin' Roger, my sidekick this morning.
Hey, good morning,
Roger. Got some trivia for you. You ready?
Okay. Sure.
All right. So Sandra Cummins is watching from Texarkana, Texas. Have you ever heard of Texarkana?
I can't say that I have.
Well, there's some trivia. There's a street that runs right down the middle of Texarkana.
Okay.
If you're on the east side, you're in Texarkana, Arkansas. If you're on the right side, you're in Texarkana, Texas.
Oh, wow. That's very interesting.
Very unusual, but yeah.
Yeah.
So you could be on the I forgot what the main drag of the street is. Sandra might chime in and tell us. But if you're on that main drag, you can be at the Wendy's across the street and say, hey, I'm going to run over to Texarkana. I'm going to run to Texas to the Dairy Queen and get a snow cone.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
It is. It's kind of a neat thing. So yeah. I've always been amused by that because it's just that street right down the middle. So, but good morning, Roger. How are you?
I'm doing good. It's the weather here in San Diego is very bipolar. A couple days ago, we were sweating, and it was very bad. And today it's just freezing. So it's a little back and forth with the weather lately.
Well, I gotta just warn everybody. We're having a pretty good thunderstorm here this morning with lightning and thunder and raining really hard. So if all of a sudden I disappear, that means our electricity went off.
Yeah,
it's already
there this morning.
It's already went off this morning. It kind of flashed and went off, and kind of all the computers kind of had to reboot. And so if that happens, y'all know what happened with me. But Roger will save the day. He'll be on there, so he'll come up and buy some time or figure it out until I get back.
Until we get back up on screen.
But hey, you know what, Roger? We got a great month planned out this month, and oh my gosh! Yes, and what's so crazy? I think everybody's going to be super excited about this month because we started off. We were going to have like one, like 2 machine demonstrations and an educational session between them. Well, it's kind of snowballed, and it's actually grown. I started getting phone calls, people saying, "Hey, can we come on the show?" And I'm like, "Sure." So our little show that was going to be like maybe an hour and a half has grown to like a couple days, like 2.5 hours, or maybe even 3. I don't remember, but it's growing.
It's a good thing, and a lot more content for our viewers. And we hope you appreciate it. We've got a lot lined up for you.
Oh man, we do.
Yeah,
so I remind everybody out there, Roger. Hey, we're going to give some stuff away today.
Yes,
we're going to give stuff away every Wednesday for the whole month. And
yes,
Roger, we got some cool stuff too. But here's the thing: if y'all want to win something, all you have to do is just ask a question in the chat, make comments about things, ask questions, just whatever you want to do, and that'll get you automatically entered. And we're going to give a few things away this whole month. And so to get entered into that, make sure you do that. And again, we're trying to grow the Stitch Nation. So y'all tell your friends about this. Hey, invite them to come and join the Stitch Nation. And you know what? Also, if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, go subscribe to it. Even if you're watching it on Facebook today, just go pull up YouTube, subscribe to our channel. And if you're watching YouTube, just go to our Facebook page and like our Facebook page because all those things really help us out. And what will end up happening as we grow, we actually can start giving more things away, higher end items. So that's an important thing for you. So, but hey, we've got great specials all this month, and we'll go over some of those today. And if you don't see something on our show this month, just know that it still could be on special. So all you have to do is pick up that phone, call the number 888-271-2171, and talk to Lacey. She's going to be the one taking your call, and just tell her what you're looking for, and she can tell you what kind of price she can give you. But everything on the show pretty much this month is going to be call-in special, so you'll have to call in to get the deal. So, hey, Roger, we have got a great lineup today, don't we? We have Garrett McMinn is going to come in. We're going to start the show off today with him showing the brand new needle machine, and that's the same machine that Jill Sweet won last week's show.
I wonder, did she receive that already?
Huh?
Has she received the machine already?
She should have received it by now, and her Mighty Hoops. So we did a contest drawing over 9 shows, and at the 9 weeks, and we kept picking finalists each week. And so Jill was one of the 9 finalists. We pulled her name out live on air, and I actually still have my basket with all the names on it right here. It's so funny. Look who's just right on top where I opened it up. Jill's winning number, or her name, is still right there. So, and there was the rest of them that didn't even open. So, congratulations to Jill again. That was an awesome prize, and you got a big shout out to Young Rock at SWF for donating the 7-needle machine, and they also a big shout out to Mighty Hoops for donating the hoop set that went with it. And but that was a lot of fun. But that just shows you guys, if you watch, you can win, and it's very easy, isn't it, Roger?
Oh yeah.
But today we got Garrett is going to start the morning off with the 7-needle, and we're super excited about this. I think you're going to love it. Then we have everybody's favorite coming in. We have Joanne Banko, the world famous Joanne Banko, coming in, and she's going to talk all about how to calm down and tame your fabrics that you want to embroidery on. And then we have Dawn Chace from Creative Applique coming in, and she's going to be doing a demo on the MAS 12 needle from SWF. And so she's got one in her studio. She's going to talk all about that. And that'll close the show out today. We'll do some giveaways at the end of the show. And then we'll talk a little bit at the end of the show about next week's show too. So we got another great show lined up for you. But hey, let's kick this thing off the right way. Hey, we've got Garrett McMinn coming in. Now, Garrett has been with SWF, Stitch International, for, I think it says up there 14 years, but I think he just hit 15 years because I think it's been 15 years. He started out when he was a teenager at this company, and he loves what he does. He's great at his job. He's got 2 young sons that he likes to spend time with. And if y'all don't know this, Garrett is a big deer hunter in this year, and he actually bow hunted and killed a deer that is probably going to be a Missouri state record. It was a monster deer. And so we're super happy to have Garrett here this morning. He knows these machines inside and out because, like the slide says, he started out as actually a repair tech working on these machines. So he knows them like the back of his hand. So y'all give a big Stitch Nation welcome to Garrett McMinn. Hey, Garrett.
Blaine. Hey, how's it going? Can you guys see me good?
We can see you good, hear you good. So we're going to let you take it away. I know you got a lot to cover today. And I'll see you back here in about 30 minutes, and we'll tell them how they can get that 7-needle.
Sounds good. Yep. Making sure you guys could see me, because I was having some issues getting my screen pulled up. Like Blaine mentioned, we were having the lightning and the thunder and stuff like that. So I just want to make sure everything was functioning on that side. So like Blaine mentioned, we have the Sunny 22 here, which we are calling the MAS 7 as well, to fit in that same lineup of the MAS 7, MAS 12, and MAS 15. So they're all three great machines, but they're all just kind of different levels of that machine. So this one here is our 7 needle, which is the smallest machine that we offer. It is great because it is so small, but it still has a large sewing field. With this machine, it weighs in only at 51 pounds. So it's one of those things that you still probably want to do a team lift. But as far as transporting, if you're doing craft shows, flea markets, anything like that, or even if you're just traveling with it, I know some people take their machines in campers, take them with them on trips, road trips, and stuff like that. This machine is very versatile, very easy to carry around. And it makes it awesome too, even with the machine out of the box. And I always go through that for customers just to show them how easy it is. When the machine comes to you, the only thing that you have to do is mount the control panel, which is 2 screws on the back and 2 cables. Then the thread rack here, it's a total of 5 components. You have the base, the 3 legs, and then the top, and then the screws as well. So five components total to put that on. But super simple setup. Out right out of the box, it's ready to go for you. You do have to thread it through here. It has the rotary disc tensioning system here, which is super simple to use. It's got numbers that coincide with different tighter tensions or looser tensions that we can get into, and I'll get closer to that for you guys later in the video. The machine does come with a 7-year warranty as well. So SWF, we've always been known for long warranties, because we always tell customers like, hey, you're running a mechanical piece of equipment, so it's great to have a warranty that stands behind the machine because you can take care of it as much as you want. But at some point, you will need to utilize that warranty, and that warranty is very strong and it stands behind this product. So we're very grateful for SWF and the warranty that they do carry. It is the longest true warranty in the industry. Some machines will advertise a 25-year warranty, but they're covering maybe a screw on the bottom of the frame for 25 years. So the 7-year warranty is big there. This machine, we'll get into the control panel, but it does have has 150 built-in pre-built or pre-made designs already in the control panel for you. It's got lettering and the draw stitch feature as well. So with the lettering, it has 15 different fonts that you can choose from. Super simple to use, and I'll go through all of that. Then it has the draw stitch feature as well, to where you can actually sign your work, or you can draw anything on the screen like a smiley face or whatever, and stitch it out on the machine as well. With this machine, you are going to get three hoops with the purchase. So we'll start out the smallest, which is going to be, I'll get close to the camera so you guys can see this. So this is going to be a 2x2 hoop. So this hoop is great for your small left chest, anything like that. Just a smaller hoop there. So that's the 2x2. Set that to the side. And then the one that we're going to run today is the 4x6. So this is great for left chest items. Anything that needs that little bit bigger left chest size, or even getting like baby onesies, towels. This hoop here is great for that. I'll set that aside. We'll put it back on the machine here in a few. And then, like I mentioned, this is a very small machine as far as the footprint, but the actual sewing field is huge. So this is a 8-inch hoop up and down by 10 inches side to side. So even though the machine is very small, you still are packing a very large sewing field into that machine. So you're gonna get those 3 hoops. This is a really cool, innovative hoop that we have that is optional, so you can add it to your purchase. But this is, they call it the sock frame, but this thing will do a ton of stuff. So sleeves, socks, small, like hard to get to pockets and everything. The really cool thing, let me set this down. I'll show you here. So basically, we're going to do all of our hooping off of the machine. So this is your outer ring, your inner ring that's going to go on the machine. You simply put it in your sock, in your pocket, whatever you need. And then this ring just goes on the back side of it and snaps in, and that would be hooped. And then from there, this is a jig or an attachment. This is going to sit on your machine, and you can see this hoop's already on there, but it's simply magnetic. So all I do, put it close and it locks in. So that's really nice. Like I said, for pockets, socks, anything small that's very hard to get to. This attachment will let you do that. And again, that is optional. So when you guys do call in, it's something that you can ask Lacey about and get that added to your machine. She'll know the price and everything, can tell you guys all about that. So with this machine, it does have a sleep mode. So as I'm talking and stuff, the machine went into sleep mode. To get rid of that, just simply touch the screen. And then what it's going to want to do is do an origin, which is fine. So we're going to hit the origin button there. You guys are going to hear and see the frame move around for us there. And basically all that's doing is refining center to make sure that we are ready to do the embroidery. So I'm going to go ahead and throw this on. And once I get this put on, I will bring you guys closer to the machine and kind of show you some of the features. That vest out of the way so we don't run over it double. I'm going to move you real quick. I apologize. I'm going to have to reposition this so you guys can see easier. Okay. So it's a little bit hard to see the numbers there, but basically it's 1 through 9 on each rotary dial, like I was mentioning. So we always run it as a 4, which is just a standard smooth tension. And then these knobs down here. So there's 2 tension adjustments per needle on the machine. So we usually run it at a 4 across along all of the needles here, all 7 needles. But what we can do is this is for our fine tune adjustment. So if we know that the tension needs to go a little bit tighter, a little bit looser, we can go ahead and fine tune it down here. And you can adjust it either way. But we found the best way to run these is run it at a 4 and then just tension these as you need, whether you need it looser or tighter. That makes it super simple. I'm going to scoot you back just a hair. The thread path on this machine is super simple. I'm going to tilt you up so you can see the full thread path. Okay. So the thread path on this machine, very simple, comes through the thread rack back in the back. You come through here, and then this is just a disc that it slides in between. Go down through the eyelet and these discs, and then simply just go around and back up through and then back down. So to thread a needle, it only takes somebody probably 30, 45 seconds to get it through. Because with this new system here, we've eliminated a lot of the eyelets where you had to go down through an eyelet, back up through an eyelet. It's just simply bring your thread down, wrap it around, back up, and then there's 1 eyelet there. So there being like 3 that you have to get it through and go through the correct eyelet sequence to make it threaded right. I'm going to move you one more time to show you on the back here. Make sure my phone doesn't fall off the tripod. So this machine does come with a bobbin winder. So this is nice if you want to wind your own bobbins or even wind bobbins that have the same color of the thread that you're running to where you don't have to worry about the bobbin showing through. But that bobbin winder is right there. You simply flick a lever and it engages and will wind your bobbins for you. I'll go back to the screen here. Get you positioned where you guys can see this. I'll do it to where you can see the screen and the hoop because we're going to be running it. All right, so in here, this is our control panel right here. It's an 8-inch LCD, so it's very easy to see. Everything is very laid out, very user-friendly. So right now, we have the sewing, coffee, chocolate, and that's all I need design up. In this video, this design takes about 20 minutes, so we won't have time to run that one, but we'll select a different design. I'll kind of show you guys the lettering. So if you go into our design button here, all across the bottom, we have design, setting, needle, frame, and machine. So the only 4 buttons we're going to use to run this machine, if we ever need to edit anything, are these first 4, which is design, setting, needle, and frame. You have here, which is going to be your RPM. So you can go RPM down, you can go up. So this machine, its max speed is 800. And up at the top, it might be a little hard for you guys to see, but it shows us our current speed that we're set at, which is 710. I'm going to bump that down to about 550 to 600. We'll go to 600 there. It shows you the date across there, the time. Then as well, right here, it shows you the color sequence that you have selected for that specific design. And then also you have the frame movements. So you can move the frame side to side, diagonal, however you need to get your design positioned. So we'll go into the design button. And then this is going to show us all of our previously loaded designs that are in there. And then we have, so you have 2 different design slots. You have design and user. User right now, we don't have anything loaded into that or else it would show up here. With the design button, you can see we already have 7 designs already in there that we've been running and testing and stuff. Then down here, you have a button labeled SES. So this is going to be where all the cool stuff happens if you're wanting to do your fonts, do your draw stitch, the preloaded design, stuff like that. So we click the SES button. And then this is super nice because in here it already has the preloaded hoops. So I can select the exact hoop. Again, there's 3 sizes that come with the machine. We can select whatever hoop. So if we're running the small 2x2, we can select that and it gives us a square on the big grid to where we know exactly if our design is going to fit. Make sure we don't need to select a bigger hoop or something. But in this case, we are going to be running the bigger hoop today. So I'm going to select that middle, that 4x6 hoop. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to show you guys the text today. So basically to do a text or to do a font, just hit the text button there. And then this is going to display your fonts. So again, I said 15. There's actually 16 in this panel here. And it does have some other languages and stuff down there if need be. But it's super simple. It's a lot like the old texting. If you had a phone that was not touchscreen and you were texting on the numbers 1 through 9 into 0. So you select your font first. So in this case, let's just do this font here. So like I'll do my wife's name, for instance. So her name is Callie. So let's do a C. So if we want to do a C, you hit the A, B, C. It goes a C up there at the top left. We'll do the A. And we'll do the L. So we'll hit that button 3 times. We need the I, which is 3 times. And then an E, that is 2 times. So funny story real quick about my wife. Her name is pronounced Callie, but her dad, whenever he put it on her birth certificate, only spelt it with 1 L. So a lot of times she gets Kaylee and people ask if her name is spelt wrong. So that is the correct spelling, is 1 L on her name. So then we'll go in here. You can select the size. So we can do basically pick our font size. So you have options 1 through 10, which are just different sizes. Usually 5 is kind of a standard left chest or a standard design. But again, if you're doing a bigger design, larger name, you can make that a lot smaller to fit it all in there. Or you can make it a lot bigger, which is going to be for just bigger designs and bigger hoops in general. But let's do a 5 on this one. We'll hit this over arrow, which is going to get us advanced to the next screen. And now it shows us her name right there in the middle of our hoop. So we have plenty of room all around the edges, which is very good. You don't want to cram it too far one edge to the other and give yourself not enough space, potentially hit a hoop or something. So this is super nice. We have the feature in there to where, again, shows you the hoop size, shows you what you're running, and then also tells you that you're safe to run that. If you did want to position it in the hoop, you can simply select the name and you can move it in the hoop wherever you want to. And then that's just going to help you get it set center and make sure that it fits. If we wanted to go in here and edit this design, we can simply do that. Even though we've already selected the size and stuff, we realize we're a little bit bigger. Let's say we want to do it as an 8. So let's go there and then back down here. So now we just made the name slightly larger by going with the size 8 font. Then again, we can go back and edit it and go back to our normal size 5 and make the design smaller. So very, very user-friendly. It also has a zoom button as well, to if you want to zoom in on the screen itself and make sure that everything's fitting. You can do that as well. So minus out of that. So I'm just basically getting a closer view to make sure that everything, if you are getting close to the edge of the hoop, you can make sure that it's going to fit. And then once we're happy with the design, that's all we do. We hit the arrow here, and then that's going to go ahead and it's saying it's convert to stitch. So it's already converted it. We'll hop out of here. And then you can see we have it up here in the design queue already. So we will select it. And then all of the sections over here with this machine, basically the top left button, we have a user manual as well that explains all this, but the top left button is to select it to run. The grayed out button here is just a design editing feature that we don't have unlocked yet. This design here is a design edit or a design divide button. So like, let's say you have a multicolor design or a multi-worded design and you want to take one specific word out, or you want to add something to it, you can use this design divide button and either advance one color or go back one color and actually take it out of the design. So it's not quite like floating, where floating can go through the design. With this one, you can actually erase parts of the design if you would like. And then we simply have the delete button. So if we want to grab one of these designs and delete it out, just hit the delete, and then it'll disappear and it goes out of the control panel. We'll go in here, select this design. And in this case, we're going to run it. So we'll go ahead and hit the check mark button, the top left up here. It's going to ask us if we want to frame center. We already did the origin, so I'm not going to frame center. So you just hit cancel there. And then you can see the design is slightly over. So you can see the frame there. I'm going to move it over to the side, get it positioned roughly where I want it. And then the cool thing with this panel, I showed you guys originally the 4 buttons along the bottom. So whenever you go to load a design, it actually walks you through those 4 buttons. So you don't have to back out of a screen, go into the next button, back out of that screen, and then so on. This machine actually takes you through every single step as you're loading the design. So for instance, we already loaded the design, we hit the correct size we wanted. Now it's taking us right to the frame button, which is where we're going to trace it on the hoop down here, and it's going to show us exactly where it's going to run. So that's super nice. Again, you're not having to click out in and out of screens to make sure that you are in the correct spacing or anything. So with this one, it has the position screen that we're on. So it shows you the position kind of within the machine. It shows you an outline or a trace. So the really cool thing with this is Trace simply does a square around your design. The outline feature, and then this is on all of our SWFs, the outline feature is actually going to trace the exact contour of the design. So this name's pretty simple. It's just a square box would be fine. But like if you think of like the state of Florida with the panhandle, it makes it super nice because like with the panhandle, it would do instead of doing a big box making the design seem big, it's going to follow the exact contour of the panhandle and show you exactly what the size of the design is going to look like on your garment. So I always use the outline. That's what I always recommend. So you select it and then simply hit the start button down here. And then if you watch, the frame's going to go down here and show us that positioning. So we need to go a little bit to the right on the garment, and we'll do it one more time. I go slightly back to the left. And I always tell customers it's one of those things, it does take a little bit of extra time to keep doing the outline and keep tracing. But it's one of those things you can never do it too many times. If you're unsure of your positioning or if you're unsure if it's clearing the hoop, you can trace 1,000 times if you want to, or outline the design 1,000 times. They're making sure it's for the safety of your machine, making sure the placement's correct on your garment. So you can do that as many times as you need. This should be the last one we need to do though on this one. And again, we're gauging the size and gauging where it's going to hit on our material. Okay, so that looked really good. I'm going to clear out of this. And then again, how I mentioned that it goes from screen to screen for you. So once we did the hoop selection, and then we did our design, loaded everything, the sizing, the positioning, and the tracing, it instantly, as soon as we hit the close button, it brings us into the next screen. So this next screen is our color selection. So we can go in here, same as all of our other machines. You can see that every number is 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way through 7. Each number has a color block below it. So same as all of our other machines, you can go in here and customize this. So I know my needle number 1 is a white color. So I can go up here, select white, select that for needle 1. Needle number 2 is like a dark blue. So let's find a dark blue here. Select that for needle 2. And then needle 3 is like a gray color. So what we can do is find the gray, needle number 3. So you can go through there and customize that fully. And then the cool thing, you hit save, tells you that the needle colors are saved. Now each color block below each needle is directly coinciding with what's on the back of our thread rack back here. So it makes it super nice. So we don't have to look back here on the thread rack or the thread tree to make sure you're selecting the right color. If you've already went through there and done all of that and loaded your colors in, you're simply looking at the color blocks below our numbers, and makes it that much easier to select your colors. So on this blue jacket, we're just going to do a white lettering. So we'll select the needle number 1. We'll hit close there, and we are to the running screen now. So again, the machine is super, super user friendly. It doesn't take you going in and out of screens. It literally, whenever you select the design you want to run or create the design with the lettering, it walks you through every single screen as it needs to go. So there's never a question of, oh, hey, did I miss this? Or, oh, hey, did I miss that? The machine physically takes you through all of those screens. The one cool thing is if you're wanting to double check and make sure that it took you through all the screens, but you to make sure that you set it correctly, you can still access all of these screens down here. So if we go to our settings, it's going to take us back to it shows a little bit differently. But it's going to take us to like our sizings and stuff like that on our settings button, our needle button. That's going to make it to where, hey, if we didn't want white, which we selected, we can go in here and now change this. You don't have to do this, but again, if you're wanting to double check your selections that you've made, you can go ahead and go back through that. So I'll go ahead and start this machine here for you. We got it set at 600. Simply hit start there and it's going to start running. Alrighty, our design is done there. I hope you guys can still hear me because I see a lot of comments on there that, hey, did you turn the sound off? It's so quiet. But I hope you can still hear me because yes, the machine is very, very quiet. I did not turn the sound off. Standing here right beside it the whole time. The really cool thing with this machine, and as it was running, you guys could probably see it, but on the screen, whenever you're running the design, everything that is grayed out or everything that is colored, it will basically display that it hasn't been ran. But as the machine runs, you see the cursor moving along and it kind of erases what was gray now. Kind of shows you how far along the design is. So this design is done. It's as simple as that. And then simply just pull this hoop off. And then I got one little thing to trim there. If I needed to clean that up, I had the first string just too long there, which that's pretty easy to do. The really cool thing with this here is you guys saw it running. This machine is the same, even though it's a smaller machine, it's the same as all of our others. So it's an auto thread cut, auto color change as well. So even this is one color, but it's still cut between every single letter to where you don't have a lot of cleanup or really zero cleanup on all of these letters. Just got to trim this little one here that I left too long. But with this, it makes it super nice because it does auto trim and auto color change. So if this was a multicolor design, and let's say it ran the white down here and you had a gray part to design up here, it would run all the white, still doing all of its thread cuts down here. Whenever it goes to go from white to gray, it's going to thread cut and color change to that other color. So once you program it on the control panel itself, there is zero you have to do as the machine's running. The only thing you got to do is if it does have a thread break, the machine is completely auto thread detect. So if you have a thread break while you're standing there or away from the machine will auto detect and stop. And then once you fix it, just simply hit start again. So I'll walk back through the control panel here. I'm going to show you guys, we got a little bit of time here left. So I'm going to show you the draw feature. So we go back to the SES button, and this is where we can zoom in a little bit. And again, we can move that slider once we get the screen big there. We'll get that selection out of our way. So if you guys simply want to draw something, all you do is hit the paintbrush here. You can go up to your paint colors. So you can select a blue, a red, pink, whatever you're going to do. We'll do like a pinkish red there. You can select your brush. So the cool thing with this is you can select different sizes of the brush tip. Just like anything else, if you're using Corel Draw or something, you can select the sizing of it. We'll do like a 3/4, like a mid there. So we can do a smiley face. Select the pin. So that is the one thing. Every time your finger leaves the screen, it's just so it doesn't create random little spots in your design. Every time your finger leaves the screen, or if you're using like a stylus, just simply hit the paintbrush again, and you're doing everything right there. So super simple. And then like, let's say if I messed up on the nose, or I'm not a great drawer anyways, but if I messed up on the nose, I can delete that and then simply hit the paintbrush again and do a nose again. So there's all different things you can do with this. Again, if you want to sign your work or have a grandkid put their hand on the screen and try to trace it out, or if you were doing quilts or something and you want to do a monogram, like a stitch on your quilt with your signature on it, you could simply sign your name on there and run it out on your quilt block as well. So if we were happy with that, same thing as the lettering, we're just going to hit the plus arrow or the side arrow there, and it tells us it's converted to stitch. And then now that smiley face is up here in our control panel. And it's right there. So again, it asked me for frame center, but I already know it's centered. So now that smiley face is right there for us. So with the lettering, the stitch feature like that and the draw feature, super simple. You saw how fast I did that. One of those things is just a couple clicks and you're done. This machine too, if you have any DST logos that you already have, it is a USB input as well. So it's one of those things that you can still get designs off of Etsy. You can get them digitized if you would like. Simply put your USB. There's 2 USB slots here on the side. Just simply put your USB in. Whenever you go to design, both of the USB options are grayed out. But as soon as I had a USB in either one of the slots here, one of those options would light up. You hit your USB function, and then exactly how it displays here is how it's going to display on your USB. So you can go through, even though this screen is a little bit smaller than like our MAS 12 or MAS 15, and some of our bigger machines, it still has the nice full color LCD, makes everything super easy to see, to where with the LCD, it's nice because you're not looking for a specific name type or a specific file name or something. You're physically looking for what your design looks like. So it's super nice. So we can select any design in there. If this was the USB, hit the check mark. We're just selecting it to run. So the user panel or the control panel is super user friendly. Can't stress that enough. It's one of those things. We're in a very simple panel for anybody that's running it, whether you have years of embroidery experience like myself, or if you're just a newbie getting into it. It's one of those things that super easy to learn and go from there. So I'm going to pull this back out, and then I'll go through and show you guys those hoops one more time so you guys can see those. And then Blaine, once I go through those hoops, I'll pass it back over to you and see if there's any questions we may have had come through. Sorry, I'm a one-man crew today, so I'm doing all my own camera movements here. So again, with the hoops that do come with the machine, you're going to get the 3 sizes, which is going to be this 2x2 again. So that 2x2 is great for small designs, any small project you got. And then we have the one that we ran today, which is the 4x6. So this is great for jackets, left chest, polos, anything like that, onesies, towels. It allows you to run those. And then again, this machine, even though it is small, I'll mention it again, it has a very large sewing field. So again, this hoop is 8 inches front to back, and also 10 inches side to side. So still a really large sewing field. And I'll show you, if anybody missed it earlier, I'll show you these. Again, these are optional, so you can add them to your purchase. But these are our sock or sleeve hoops, and simply you pull it off of there. It's magnetic. You can hoop these, hoop your socks, whatever you're hooping, sleeves. Once you get it hooped, this part right here, the silver and the like tan part here, this is hooked to the machine, and it simply just magnetizes in and sticks to it. So makes it super simple to hoop those items as well. Anything like small pockets that might be hard to hoop. Blaine, I've about exhausted the time there. I'll pass it back over to you. Maybe we got a little time for questions if we had any roll through.
We do, Garrett. We do have a few questions. So you answered a couple of them right there at the end. And we do, somebody asked the sewing field, you covered that. How many hoops? You covered this.
If you're talking, Blaine, I can't hear you. It might be an issue on my side. Let me see here.
Okay. Roger, can you hear me?
Hey, Blaine, I could hear you fine.
Okay, so it's Garrett. Well,
okay. I can hear you guys now. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes. Yeah, we got you. All right.
Okay, so, it pulled up finally. All right.
Okay, you answered some of the questions, Garrett. They were asking about the sewing field, how many hoops that come with it. The design format is DST, correct?
That is correct. Yep. Any DST file will work in the machine.
Okay. And then they asked about if it's wireless.
So this machine specifically, we do not have it set up on the wireless platform like the MAS 12 or the MAS 15. So it is the USB input on this machine.
Okay. And then what was the weight again?
So it's 51 pounds. That the 51 pounds is actually the complete box that the machine ships in. So we made it super light for the shipping. So the machine itself is probably closer to like 45 to 43 to 45 pounds on the machine itself.
And then they were asking about a camera feature on it, which it does not. We know that.
Mhm.
And then they were asking, I was trying to write all these down. About a cap frame.
So this machine here, and that's kind of what I was explaining with the different levels of our machines. So the 7 needle is kind of specifically for flats. We do have some hat hoops and stuff that you can use, but they're actually they're a flat type hoop, so you would not actually have a cap driver system. So it doesn't look exactly like this, but it does allow you to hoop a hat. The one thing with this machine, with your hooping it on a flat hoop, it would make it to where you really can't run structured hats. You can run very like the jogger hats, like an unstructured dad hat. You could lay those out, and really, it's not an issue of the machine being powerful enough. It's more or less getting that material flat. With a structured hat, you just can't do that. And I will walk into even the strength of the machine. So whenever we got one of these in, we put it through the ringer. We had these canvas tote bags. We ended up layering up 7 bags, so it was 14 layers of material, and we ran design after design after design, and it pumped right through it. So it very much surprised us, even though it's a small machine, still very powerful as well.
All right. Well, great job, Garrett. I think that was all the questions I had. We sure do appreciate it. And so let me tell everybody how they can get one of these. Now, again, this is a call-in special only. The normal price on these are $64.99. Now, one thing I want to tell y'all, I've been selling every brand of embroidery machines for many, many years. And I am really excited about this because if you go out there and look at the competitors in that 7 needle range, 6 to 8 needles, all those, this thing puts them all to shame as far as the punching power. You can do some leather. I mean, you can do a lot of different fabrics on this and it'll go right through it. It has extremely big motors in it. And so again, SWF is the commercial world, the industrial world. They make the big multi-head, 12-head machines for factories and things. And they've taken a lot of that technology and put it down into these consumer pro is what we call them. So the MAS lineup is the consumer pro models. We have the 7 needle, the 12 needle, and the 15 needle. Once you go above those, you're getting into strictly commercial. So these are made for consumer pros. If you wanted to do a business, these are going to be great for that. Now, one thing I love about this machine, it's probably under 50 pounds, the machine itself. And that makes it extremely easy to take to trade shows, flea markets. If you wanted to go set up and do stuff, specialize things at flea markets, you could have it set up and just sit there and buy a bunch of blanks and just do specialized embroidery all day long. And I tell you what, you can make a lot of money doing that. And again, $64.99 is the normal price on that. We do offer some financing on this, but we do have a call-in special. So to get that special, you have to call in. You're going to get those 3 hoops with it. We do have those optional sleeve and sock hoops that you can purchase and add with it. But again, great machine. Again, those 7 needles, and you can do a lot of different design colors with 7 different colors of thread on it. And it has that bobbin winder built in that you can wind the same color of thread you're using so you don't see anything showing through when it pulls that bobbin thread up. Huge LCD screen right there that you can see. And then one of the features I love on these SWFs is that feature, that draw feature on the screen. You can actually, Garrett said it, if you're a quilter and you wanted to do something to make your quilt special, you could have, if you got grandkids, young kids, you can put their hands on the screen, let them put their hand up there. You could trace that and then digitize it and actually embroidery that out. And you can make quilt squares with their hands. So that would just be, things that you can do. So there's so many things you can do like that. Again, call in special day. Y'all get on that phone, 888-571-2171, and talk to Lacey. Lacey will be taking your calls today. And again, great machine from SWF. All right, Roger. Well, let's continue on with the show. I hope we answered everybody's questions. Now, if you have some more questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. I know Hagen is monitoring the chat today. He can help answer. Hagen knows these machines like Garrett. They both know these machines like the back of their hand. And Hagen is monitoring the chat. He'll answer your questions if we did miss something for you. But great memory for quilts. You're right, Lynn. That is a great memory. And I've seen that actually done before. I've seen somebody at a quilt show one time that they did that. I don't know how they did it with their hands, but they did have traced hands of their, I don't know if it was traced, but they had grandkids as their handprint with their names on it on a quilt. And so I don't know if they used this method or how they used it, or if it was just a generic hand, but this would be the actual hand. So there's so many things you can do with embroidery. I mean, I've seen people that get, a lady one time had her grandmother's old, like these recipes, and she made a wall hanging with all these recipes that were actually her grandmother's handwriting. They digitized it and it made the recipe. So it's actually her grandmother's handwriting that did it, all these little recipes, and did a wall hanging. So there's so many things you can do like that. But I tell you what, our next guest can tell you all about that kind of stuff, because she's probably one of the most creative people that I've ever met. And she is just awesome. She has done so many things. I've worked with her through the years so many times. And Joanne Banko, y'all, she is, I'm going to tell you, just awesome. I can't even tell you all about her, but there's so many things that she's done. She wrote a book called Wrapped in Embroidery. She used to be made a lot of appearance on that TV show, It's So Easy. She has done so many things. She's been ambassador for machines. And I tell you what, I always just get so excited when she comes on her show, because she is so knowledgeable. And I tell you, I've always told this story. The first time I ever met her, she was at a convention helping the teacher as like an assistant, and she was more knowledgeable than the teacher. And I remember then I was like, she needs to be leading this class. But guess what? She's leading the class today. So y'all give a big Stitch Nation welcome to Joanne Banko. Hey, Joanne. You're muted. I can't hear you.
Sorry.
There we go. Gotcha.
Can you hear me now? All right.
We got you loud and clear. How are you?
I'm great. I'm so glad to be here. I've missed everybody so much, and thank you for inviting me. It's going to be an exciting day. I've been watching, and wow, I'm impressed.
Well, I got to say, first of all, thank you so much for doing this. I know you wanted to take a little break. You've kind of been on hiatus, but you've come out of hibernation twice now, or 3 times for me. I can't remember now how many times, but thank you so much. And I know the Stitch Nation absolutely loves you, and they're thanking you for coming on. But I know you got some great tips and techniques to talk about today. So I'm gonna let you take it away, and I'll come back when you get finished up.
Very good. Very good. All right. I don't see my slides up there. Roger, if you have them, I think I was thinking you would have them, and you might have been thinking that I would have them, but it's okay. It was just a couple really brief things that I was going to talk about on there. If it's not there, we'll just jump right into the things that I have to show you on the work table, and maybe we can come back. There we go.
Hey,
All right.
I have them on for you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay. So yes, my topic for today is taming texture. So how many of you have been frustrated when you're embroidering and you've got that kind of fabric that just is tricky? Now, you all know, those of you that know me, if you know me, thank you for being here. And if you don't, thank you for being here as well. And I'm happy to meet you. But I could easily go on all day. When Blaine and I did lots of live things together, in-person events, he was always the one, checking my time and making sure I stayed on time. So I do want to stay on time today. But If we could go to the next page, then I'll just tell you a little bit of what I want to talk about today. So texture, first of all, what does texture mean? That's a really broad term, and let's just define it as something that has nap, that has pile, if it's furry, fluffy, fuzzy, bumpy, maybe ribbed, all of those things that when you feel the fabric or the base that you're going to be embroidering on, and it's not perfectly flat and smooth. So nap is definitely a term that garment sewers learn early on, because a lot of fabrics have nap, and what that means is it's kind of like, I like to compare it to petting a cat. Now we could probably get into the cat people, dog people thing here. Maybe some of you are both. I love animals. Anything that's furry is great in my world. But I am more of a cat person, and I don't know, you tell me, but cats, generally speaking, like to be petted in one direction. So consider that the nap, that the right direction is what the nap is. It's going only one way. Dogs, man, maybe you can ruffle them up and they're okay with that. But cats generally don't like that. So just think of it as fabric that has nap. And when you brush it one way, it smooths down. If you brush it the opposite way, you're brushing it up. So when it comes to, again, garment sewing, nap is very important, because nap can mean a color change in the fabric. When the nap runs down, generally the fabric looks a little bit lighter. When the nap runs up, the fabric looks a little bit darker. And it's okay to run it either way. It's just that when you do it, you want to make sure that you are, running it so that every single piece that you cut has the same top edge. So if you're cutting a sleeve or a bodice or pant legs or anything like that, your nap wants to be going the same direction for each piece. Okay, so we're going to talk more today about just general fabrics that have all of those texturized features. And so that could be terry cloth. That's actually what we're going to focus on today, is terry cloth, because that's kind of like super nap. It's definitely got the texture, and it definitely gets smoothed in one direction or the other. But fleece is an example of napped fabric. Some flannels are pretty flat, but some of them are a little bit more fluffy. And so that's, something to consider. The other thing is corduroy. Corduroy not only has nap, it also has ribs or ridges. So we said anything that's ribbed or bumpy. I got a misspelling there. It should be velvet. Velvet is definitely something we consider nappy. Velveteen is just a kind of a diversion, a little of velvet. Minky is so popular, and minky is almost like, petting a kitten. It just feels like that super, super soft. That definitely has texture, definitely has nap. But let's talk about, some other maybe out of the box fabrics like piqué. Piqué can be either a knit or it can be a woven fabric. And piqué is just a fabric that's a little bit bumpy. And then we have rib knits, sweater knits, and all kinds of miscellaneous knits. Even some of your sweatshirts, technically, if you can run your fingernail on there and feel a little bit of the ridges, it's something you want to be concerned with when you're embroidering on that. Okay, let's go to the very next slide, and we'll just talk a little bit again about my little bit of an overview. So I want to help you pick the right design. Will your design fit with your textured fabric? We'll talk about some guidelines for that. I want to help you pick the right stabilizer and topping. Topping is very important when it comes to nap. And then we're going to learn a little bit about how we can compensate or tame that texture with a base layer of stitches, with applique, and then we'll cover some hooping options. So I'm going to go ahead and switch my camera over to my work table there, okay? And let's talk a little bit about some of those things that I have outlined for you. Now, I will say that I'm not really going to be able to follow your questions while I'm showing you over there at the table. So if you could save them for the end, that would be terrific. And then I'll make sure to cover them for you, okay? Now, different fabrics are going to show up a little bit differently on the camera. So pardon that, but when you get some dark things, camera wants to adjust for it. But let's just go through a few really simple examples of napped fabric. One would be, like I said, sweater knit. And sweater knit has a lot of texture on this particular piece. I could definitely see the ribs. Again, I could feel it with my fingernail. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about stretchy and non-stretchy when we talk about stabilizer options. But that is definitely something you want to be mindful of. So this fabric not only has texture, it also has the stretch factor to it. So we want to be concerned with that. Okay, what about rib knits? Well, this is a very classic little knit shirt, and you can definitely, again, see those ribs in there and see that texture. Now, just remember, you're not always going to see it that pronounced, but you're going to learn that, topper can go a long way. And in a lot of cases, it can pretty much always help. And really, there isn't any downside to using it. All right, what about fleece? Polar fleece. Very, very, very popular fabric. One of my favorite things to do as a giftable. I'm all about gifting. I know many of you are, and it's just super nice to be able to buy fleece in the amount of yardage that you want to cover somebody and make a blanket. Technically, fleece doesn't even need edge finishing because it doesn't ravel after it's cut, but there are all kinds of different ways that you could finish fleece. I actually have a tip sheet on my website where I talk about that specifically. But fleece is one of those fabrics, again, that has multiple factors to it. It definitely has nap and texture, and it also has stretch. So it actually stretches more in the crosswise direction than it does in the lengthwise. But it's something to be, consider when you're deciding what stabilizer that you want to use. So I will go into that just a little bit more. And then, of course, we have terry toweling. So I've got an old towel here. How many of you, have an old towel in your closet? I'll go back and look at the look at the comments and see who says yes, yes. But an old towel is something that I highly recommend you use for practicing. I'm going to show you a whole bunch of different samples today and different methods. And once you see that, I'd like you to go ahead and give it a go, depending on what you have in your embroidery repertoire. Now, after watching these fantastic embroidery shows that Stitch It International is putting on this month, you might be adding to your repertoire. So consider that for your future. But just think about what you have and what you have to use, and then practice. We've probably heard it a million times, but it's always best to test. I've certainly said it many, many times. And I've also heard the saying, there are those who test and there are those who wish they would have. So definitely consider that when you're when you're going to embroider something that is especially new to you. You're trying new techniques, and you can almost always find some sort of a test piece either in your closet, in your drawer, or head over to the thrift shop, maybe pick up some fabric that's similar to what you're going to be embroidering on, and make sure that you have got kind of the preliminary down before you jump into a project that may be one of a kind. Okay. All right, so what's next? Well, let's talk about stabilizer. So stabilizer, again, that's another thing we could talk about all day long. We'll talk about selecting a design in a couple of minutes here too, but stabilizer wise, we've got basically two types are what I am gonna talk about today, because these are certainly the most commonly used. Stabilizer, I know Stitch It International has a full line of stabilizer for you. And it's another one of those things we could go for hours on, but we're going to just, kind of hit the highlights today. And stabilizer basically comes in two forms, either a tearaway, which you can see it readily tears. This is a medium weight tearaway. It's a little bit more crisp. This is a little bit lighter tearaway, but there again, we could see it tear. This is a little softer. Now, let me tell you right off the bat that, these are all my ways, and it's not my way or the highway. It's just my way based on my experience in almost 40 years of embroidering. And, we all work out our own different ways. So if you are looking for new ways to try, or you're getting new experience, give these a go. If you already have some ways that you like to do things and my ways are a little different than yours, hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If it works for you, go for it. But just think about some of the things that I'm going to show you today. So in my world, I never hoop a piece of crisp tearaway. Now, what does that mean? It means that I float it underneath the hoop. And you'll see me talk about this just a little bit more in a minute or a few minutes here. But what that means is it's not going to be secured in the hoop with the fabric. Now, again, there may be some exceptions to this. If you've got those fabulous mighty hoops and you're doing some things on commercial machines, we're going to kind of look a little bit more at domestic machines as far as the hoop options today, but that can all translate to your commercial machines as well. But the reason I don't put the layer of crisp tearaway in the hoop with my fabric is because fabric has a tendency to bubble away from it. And I can't tell you how many times I've seen disastrous embroidery because a piece of crisp tearaway was hooped with a possibly softer piece of fabric, and the softer piece of fabric moved. This is just, it's stiff and it's a little bit heavy, so I prefer to float it underneath the hoop and just slip it underneath. Now, there are times when I want to hoop the tearaway along with my project or my piece, and in that case, then I will use a lighter weight, softer, and you could see how much more flexible this is than this one. If you could hear it, you'd actually hear the little kind of crispy crunchiness. But that's how I differentiate those two different types. Now, one more little thought on this, and that is that I use tearaway on a woven non-stretch item. So for my towels, I'm going to tell you exactly how I hoop my towels. I virtually always use a towel hooped by itself with a floating layer of crisp tearaway and then a topper, and you'll see that. But that just, most of your towels don't have stretch in it. We're not wearing them, so we're not looking for a comfort factor in a towel. And if it is a woven and it has no stretch, a tearaway is my go-to stabilizer. Now, what about some of those other items I showed you, though, the knits and the sweater knits and the ribbing and all of that? Well, those fabrics stretch. So when I work with stretchy fabrics, I want to use a cutaway. And once again, the basics are a lightweight, soft cutaway and a heavier, firmer cutaway. When do I use one? When do I use the other? Well, generally speaking, if my knit is a lighter weight knit and my design is a lighter weight design, I'm going to use the lighter weight stabilizer. This is a very typical called a no-show mesh. Again, Stitch It International has all that you need in that regard. This is a very stable item in all directions. And this comes in two forms. I only have one form here showing you today, but it comes in just a basic form, and it also comes in an adhesive form that you would iron onto your fabric. So when you have the option, it's always best to have your cutaway bonded to your fabric, so they act as one solitary piece. So how would I bond a non-fusible? I would use my temporary adhesive spray. Again, Stitch It International has that for you. Or if I wanted to use the fusible version, then that eliminates the need for the spray. So with the cutaway, heavy or light, you can always use the temporary adhesive spray to secure that to the fabric. One more little tip. This may be a really basic tip, but it probably should be mentioned and not go without saying it. You always want to cut your stabilizer larger than your hoop, so that when you are hooping, because these two in my world almost always get hooped with the fabric. Rare circumstances would I float this, but 99.9% of the time, this is bonded to my fabric and it's all being hooped as one. So never, ever skimp with stabilizer. You always want to have your hoop entirely filled with stabilizer, so you have no risk of that, shifting on you and not being fully supported. Okay, so that covers what goes on the bottom. Let's talk about what goes on the top. So topper is another very important piece of the puzzle when it comes to textured fabrics. The topper that I'm going to use over and over again is kind of, just like we say Kleenex. Kleenex really was a brand name, but we say Solvy. A Solvy type is a water-soluble that looks like plastic. Yes, there is another water-soluble type that's more of a mesh style, but that's used generally for lace making, and it's kind of a waste to use it for anything else. So your plasticky looking water soluble is definitely your go-to topper when you're doing napped fabrics. Now, once again, I prefer to have this entirely hooped, and you'll see a sample in a few minutes here, entirely hooped with my fabric. Now, are you wasting some of this when you do that? Absolutely, you are. However, water-soluble topping is probably one of the least expensive things you will ever purchase for your embroidery. And that just means that, again, we don't skimp. Now, why do I want it fully hooped? If it's fully hooped with my fabric, it can't move. The hoop is locking it in place. Now, I don't know about you, but somewhere in my photo album library, I have a picture of when I didn't do as I said you should do and broke the rule and just maybe tacked it down on my fabric. And all you got to do is walk away once. And if your embroidery foot catches this, it can wrap right up in the foot and boom, you're done. Now, there are some other ways to attach this. If you don't want to fully hoop it, I recommend fully hooping, but you could, when it's dampened a little bit, it gets sticky. So you could dampen four corners plus the in-between spots and literally stick it to your fabric. To me, that's a little bit messy because then it stays stuck to your fabric and it's harder to remove. I'm going to show how I remove it today here for you too. But so that could work. Some people like to pin it. Again, if that works for you, fine, go for it. But absolutely make sure this goes nowhere while you are stitching, that it stays fully secured in the hoop. Now, I have, of course, developed my own ways, but I have also seen many other people talk about many other things. And I have at times heard people talk about using the alternative topper for textured fabrics. And what is the alternative topper? It's called heat away. It may look a little different than your wash away. It may look very similar to it. How do I know the difference? Well, if I took a little sponge and dabbed this with water, this is not turning to goo, whereas my water soluble definitely is going to get sticky. So I've heard some people like to use this even on towels, and the trick with this one is it irons away. Well, that's a nice thing in theory because I don't have to get it wet. I don't have to, I just run my iron over it and it's gone. I'm going to say, yeah, but let me tell you what happens with this heat away. Heat away in my world is great for a flat surfaced fabric. We're not talking flat surface today. We're talking textured surface. On a flat surface, you can pull away the excess of this and then run a pretty hot iron. It takes a pretty good heat on the iron, run over it, and all the excess will just roll up into a little ball and you brush it away. Oh, great. That works good for solid surface, smooth fabrics. But we're talking texture here today. Imagine those little balls getting stuck in your towel and then you have to pick at them to get it off. What happens when you pick and pull at a napped fabric? You very likely are going to damage it. So in my world, I would put a big red X over this. I do not use this with textured fabric. I stick with the water soluble. And I'll definitely give you some more tricks on water soluble in a few minutes here. All right, let's talk about designs. Now, again, we only have a certain limited amount of time today, so I want to give you some real successful tips here to help you in your embroidery journey. But when we think about, let's see, can you see that this way or should I be this way? I think I want to be this way. When you think about the designs that you're going to pick, a lot of times we want to do a name, we want to do an initial, we want to do a monogram, and that can work. I'm going to suggest that just as a general rule, you stick with fonts that are a little bit larger and are more of a block style. I didn't stitch out 10 different fonts for you today, but if I did, you'd see that, and if you've looked at fonts, there's a big world out there, and some of them have skinny lettering, some of them have broad lettering. You want to stick with, for embroidery on textured fabric, something that has a little bit more substance and a little bit more body. Now, I love to show you, sample A, sample 2, and see if you can see the difference. So this one I have labeled as without underlay. So what does that mean? That means I happen to have on a machine some built-in lettering, and on my particular machine that I stitch this on, that lettering does not have what we call underlay. What's underlay? Underlay are base stitches, and if you would have been with me when I stitched this, you'd see that it did a little bit of a straight stitch, then it went back and did a little bit of a zigzag. Oh, not on this one. Let me back up. On the next one, I'm going to show you that's what it did. On this one, it did a little bit of a straight stitch, so let me correct myself, and then it immediately went over it with a satin stitch. So it does not have underlay. As opposed to this little sample here, see if you can see those two next to each other. I think you can. I put a little pin in there before I labeled it so that I knew what the difference was, but you can pretty visibly see this if you look close. This is a lot more solid. Now, yes, the lettering is a teensy weensy bit wider. The satin column is a little bit wider, but here, if you were with me, if you were watching me stitch this, you would see it started with a little bit of a straight stitching line. Then it went over the entire area where the lettering was going to form with a full zigzag. Well, guess what that zigzag did for me? Zigzag added underlay. So that's why I've labeled this with underlay. And what that underlay did is it tamped down the nap so that when the satin stitches went over it, they were raised up just a little bit over the surface, and the surface literally was not growing up and getting in the way. Now, I absolutely used my water-soluble topping on every single sample that I stitched. So I've already removed that. And in fact, I have already washed all of these samples that I'm showing you now. I only have one at the end that we're going to go over that wasn't washed. And why did I do that? Because I wanted you to see what happens when you actually wash something that's textured. That's where, the proof is in the pudding. So following the guidelines, doing a test, again, if it's something new to you or you're testing out a design, it's always best to test. But I can see then what happens is literally what's going to happen when this is used. It's going to be washed. Very rarely are we doing something textured that is not going to be washed later on. And I want to know what's going to happen with it. So you can actually even see that my nappy texture here from the terry cloth is kind of fluffing over this lettering a little bit. And not too bad, but this one is definitely better. So a little bit of a bolder lettering design with that underlay makes a big difference. So check you can tell right away, with your machine if your built-in lettering has underlay. If not, hey, software is always an option, and we can't ignore software when it comes to embroidery. If you're just starting out, fine, use what you have. But somewhere, someday down the road, you're going to want to add some software because that's going to open your embroidery world to the size of the universe and give you so many more options. And there's some great options out there. All right, so let's talk a little bit more about design selection. So here I've got another sample of a stitch out, and it's just, again, it's a good example of selecting a design that has a good chance of working well. And what I've done is I've used one of my favorite designs from one of my collections with roses, and you can see that that's got a nice full satin stitch. By the way, this entire design has wonderful underlay. My lettering also has underlay. And this design, it shows me that it's solid and has enough base to cover that nap and that texture without having that be a problem where it grows up and fluffs around. Oh, again, the proof is in the pudding. I still got my water-soluble stabilizer on here, and I'll show you in a little bit how I remove that. But here's the proof here. This one, exact same design, stitched exactly the same way, and now you can see that I've washed it, and it still looks as good as the unwashed one in that my design is still floating above the surface, and I don't have any issues with that design. So again, just kind of think of some basic principles here. You want to have good coverage on textured fabrics. Definitely look at your design. If it's got a lot of fine outlining and detailing, it may not be a good candidate for your fabric. Now, in the commercial world, are there smaller designs with less with less density and more fine details that can go on piqué knits and kind of think of the golf shirt as a piqué knit? Absolutely, but in all likelihood, those designs were professionally digitized for that specific fabric. So another topic for another day, but you can see I've got successful results on there. Now, what about some other options for taming that texture? Well, one option is to use what we call a knockdown stitch. Okay, what is a knockdown? Well, you might hear it called a knockdown. You might hear it called a nap blocker. You might hear it called nap tack. You might also hear it called pile down. you look at a variety of different things that different software programs, they may call it entirely different names, but all of those mean the exact same thing. What it's doing, and I like the term knockdown or nap blocker. To me, that makes the most sense because it's knocking down the texture or it's blocking the nap. And how does it do that? Well, if you look close, let me show you let me angle this just a little bit. I hope you can see it. It's meant to be a little bit subtle, but what that nap blocker did is it laid down a base layer that is forming the same outline, the same shape of my design. So I'm literally tracing the area where my knockdown is. Now, why is it that you're not seeing it really well? Because I used a thread color that matched my surface. And that's the trick with knockdown or nap blocker. You want it to kind of melt into your fabric and pretty much disappear. And by choosing an embroidery thread color that simulates your fabric color, that serves the trick that you need. And then your design is literally stitched on top of it. So just like we talked about underlay being underneath the lettering, basically what that nap blocker does is it creates an underlay all around your design. In software is where you'll find this option, and there are different settings, so you can make that fit a little closer to your design, a little further away. It's entirely up to you, the look that you want. So that's one style of knockdown. Here's another style of knockdown, and this is something that's available to everybody. You don't need software because you could purchase designs that have a knockdown already there for you. So my friend Dawn's coming up next here following me, and this is actually one of her designs. It's a design collection that has different shapes and different sizes of those shapes, and then you can simply plop your embroidery design on top of it so it stitches that entire oval first, and then I can select designs that may or may not be a little more suitable. I can have finer detailing because all of that stitching is going to sit on top of that knockdown. So it's a knockdown with an entire shape. All right, what about another option? Well, I have to tell you, this may be my all-time favorite option, and that is the option of using applique. So in this particular example, yes, I have them all nicely labeled, not only for you, but for me, so I don't have to think about what it is. But this is an example of using applique as an option. And if you looked at my rose design, again, from my personal collection that I have, this design comes in multiple forms. It comes in pieces and parts. It also comes with a lot of the designs that mimic the embroidery in an applique version. So this is a little bit bigger, a little bit bolder, but this was all done with applique fabric as the base for the lettering, the base for the leaves, and the base for the rose. And I just love the look of applique. We're going to go a little bit more into the steps for applique here in just a minute or two, but that's one of my favorite ways to tame texture and works on virtually anything. And yes, on all of these pieces, I would have used that tearaway as a backing. I've already torn most of it away here, but I'm gonna give you a little do as I say, not necessarily as I've always done, but I will tell you that there are times when I have totally forgotten on a towel in particular. So again, we're focusing on terry cloth today. On a towel, I have neglected or forgotten to slip that crisp tearaway underneath. And oftentimes that toweling is so stable by itself that was not missed. However, I do recommend that you do as I say, not as I've done sometimes, and always float that layer. It's very easy to remove. If I've got a few extra little pieces here and there, I don't worry about those. If you want to pick those out a little bit more, you can. But just remember, the more you poke and pull at your embroidery, base, the more chance you have of maybe snagging something. But you can see how easy it is for that to tear away. With applique, you very often have a satin stitch outline, and that satin stitch makes it very easy for you to remove your tear away. If you just put a little bit of pressure on the fabric and then pull it, it pops right off. All right, so that's another option. Now let me show you another applique option, and then I'm going to wrap up in just a couple minutes here with a couple more just little tips for you. But in this particular applique option, I chose to use an applique shape. And I did this because, again, this is something you would very likely find as a purchasable design. Hopefully that's a word, or something that you could create in software. And that is, you could create your shape and then add your embroidery on top of it, and you have absolutely no issues with that, affecting your nap, because it can't grow through any of that applique fabric. One of the other big benefits of using this as an option is when you do applique, you can either do it directly on your fabric, and I'll show you an example real quick of one done directly on the fabric. If it's done directly on the fabric, you look at the back side, everything shows through. However, if you treat that applique as two separate steps and you embroider your design on your applique piece, and then you add that applique to your base layer, when you look at the back, all you have is that satin stitching. So that's definitely something that you want to look into, doing an applique with those types of steps, so that you've got a nice clean backing. And especially for a towel, it's nice to be able to still dry with that towel and not have all of that stuff that's on the back rubbing against your skin, or taking away the absorbency of that. So that's definitely another thought there. So real quick, I just want to show you a couple more samples of this, and then I have one more thing and we'll be done. So here's another example of knockdown with the embroidery on top. And then we've got another one here that is a little bit different, but we've talked about toppers, we've talked about applique. So I thought, well, why don't I teach you one more trick that is definitely doable for anybody, because all you need is your fabric, your design, and a layer of netting or tulle. This netting matches this so well. Well, what did I do here? Well, I treated my netting as if it was a topper, but I also treated it as if it was basically an applique piece, so that after I stitched just a simple outline with that, I was able to just trim away the excess. So what did this do? Well, it did a whole lot of things for me. It added a knockdown to that base fabric. So just by layering this over my fabric when I stitched it, and then trimming away the excess, I've got a little bit of an applique style design, but I've also got the advantage of that tamping down the nap just by virtue of that that netting being on top. So that's a little bit of a kind of a out of the box trick, but it definitely works. So let's close out by just going through applique steps really quickly, because I've already told you that's one of my favorite forms of taming texture, is doing an applique. Here you see another rose design. This is just a little mini one. This one, instead of having applique leaves, it's got embroidered leaves, and then the actual rose itself is an applique. So this is an example of the finished piece, totally done. Let me tell you what the steps are. So the first step in all applique, given, again, generalities, but pretty much every applique design you find is pretty much created equal, and it has 3 steps. The first step we call the applique material step, and that very simply is an outline that shows you where your fabric piece needs to go. So now I can take my fabric and I can see what size piece do I need? I always cut a piece that's at least 1/4 of an inch larger all the way around. I don't want to skimp. Once again, this is a great option because an applique allows you to use a lot of different fabrics, a lot of different choices. Let me tell you how I prep mine. If you look at this, you can see the body that this piece has. If you look at this, you can see what it was like before I added body to it. Now, what do I mean by adding body to it? I want to add some firmness to this piece so it's easy to work with. So what I like to do is fuse interfacing. Again, you know, my background is in garment sewing, first off, and so I'm very familiar with interfacings, and I like to choose one that is designed for shirt collars and cuffs. So it's a kind of a medium weight, but it's pretty firm, and it just gives a nice base for that fabric. I always, almost with rare exception, would I change this rule. I like to always add interfacing to my applique fabric that I'm going to use. Now, one more thing that you could add to this if you wanted to would be a fusible webbing. And by adding that fusible webbing, when you're all done, you could fuse this into place. And I would wash it out first because you could see I've got my topper layered with this. Wash it out and then give it a final pressing with the iron. And then basically your applique is glued in place. So that's another option for you. But let's go through just the last 2 steps here. The second step then is called applique position. And again, it's just showing you the position of the fabric that you need to place. And then the next step is for you to put that piece over. It's going to stitch a second outline, and then you're ready to trim. Now, my curved tip scissors seem to go by the wayside, but I would just take my fine curved tip scissors. I would trim around that. And yes, if you have digital cutting options, you can cut pieces with a digital cutter. Again, that's another whole program, but a pre-cut piece saves you the effort of having to do that. All right, so that's very simply the applique steps. I'm just going to show you real quick a couple ideas for hooping. If you do want to float your towel over because you're concerned about getting the thickness in there, then you may want to consider using a sticky base. If you use a sticky base, please make sure it's a water-soluble sticky. So you see the paper, they look the same, the two look the same, but this one is designed for you to peel away the paper, stick your towel to the sticky surface, and when you're done, this will entirely wash away in warm water, just like your water-soluble topper does. If you want to, you could, consider floating it, but I like to hoop my towels. And what I do is I just simply layer my topper with my towel. I open my hoop as far as I can get it open. I put that towel in it, close it down, make sure that it's nice and firm, and then you're going to know that your towel is fully secured in there. I hooped this towel earlier and had no issues with it, and this towel is very plush and very thick. So if possible, I like to hoop it. If not, then I do have the option for using the sticky method. Some people like to hoop a piece of tearaway and pin it down. I like to have it sitting there as secure as possible. So let me pop back over to the screen here and see if we have any quick questions. I sure hope you got some good tips and tricks out of that. Do we have any burning questions, Blaine?
Well, Joanne, I'm sure there's going to be a ton because, man,
Okay.
that was awesome. I'm just going to tell
you.
you, I kind of know a little bit about some of this stuff, but you just kind of blew my mind on some of this. I don't know if you remember this, but you did a design. I'm trying to think of how many years ago for me. We did them on aprons.
Yeah, that was so much fun. Oh,
and it had their initial
yeah.
and the person's name, right?
Yes, yes,
And I
yes.
remember I did them for my mom, my 2 sisters, Michelle, and then everybody
Yeah.
started seeing them and was like, "I want one of those." I said, "Well, does Joanne did these." So you actually end up sending me the design, I think, and
Yeah,
oh my gosh, and that reminded me of that because you showed me one time a towel. I can remember this like it was yesterday.
that's so funny.
It was a towel that you did. You did that same kind of design on it, but what was interesting about it, the whole thing was embroidered, and I don't know how you did that. You may have did one of these techniques, but you used the same color thread of the towel, and
Mhm.
it pulled the whatever you call the fabric down.
Yep,
What do you
it
call
tamps
what
it
do you call
down.
that
It
while ago? The
knocks it
nap?
down.
It knocked it all the way down, but you left that was all the outline, and the initial
Oh, yeah.
was not touched, so it
That's
popped
another whole
through.
technique. It's actually a reverse. It's called
Yeah.
embossing, and that's where you want the nap to come up. Again, another topic for another day, but
Oh my gosh, those
that's a fun
towels, if y'all
technique.
could see these towels that Joanne we were talking about, they're beautiful. And I tell you, I'd never seen that before. And it actually looked like, I mean, it was a custom fabric job or factory job. I still to this day remember those. And if you can imagine having a set of those in your guest bathroom, for
Yeah.
instance, with your initials on them and things, oh my gosh, they were so pretty, but I'd never seen anybody do that reverse design the way you did it, and that
That's a
reminded me
trend
of it a
right
while ago.
now, but it's actually something I did probably 35 years ago. It's so funny how things go around and come around. But if I didn't answer all the questions here today, I know we're time sensitive. Please get a hold of me. If Roger wants to pop up that very last slide,
Yes.
and if you want to get a hold of me, it's letsgosew.com. Easy. If I asked you what you wanted to do today, you'd say let's go sew after you watch the Stitch It Live show. But feel free to get a hold of me. I answer all your questions. And I did see one pop up. Yes, I do hoop the topper with the towel. It's definitely, I like to have everything all secured together whenever possible. But it's been so much fun to be with you here today. Thank you, Blaine. Thank you for
Well,
inviting me.
thank you
Thank you,
for being
everybody,
part
for
of
all
the
your time and attention.
oh, thank you for being part of the Stitch Nation. I know, I was watching the comments, and everybody was just blown away by the things you were doing, and, again, it's like, I always think about this, it's your imagination just opens up so many different
Yeah.
avenues of things that if you just kind of think of something, you can probably do it. And you're just the perfect example to have all the different things and techniques that you've tried through the years. And
Well,
all the shows that we've done together, I've always seen the things that you've done, and I've always been amazed by it. And I
thank
know
you.
my uh, wife Michelle and my sisters Kippy and Robin and my
Hopefully
mom
she sees.
Marietta, they're a huge fan of yours.
Oh, thank you. Well, I came into the embroidery world when there was nothing. Literally, there were no instructions, there were no magazines, there were no books, there was absolutely nothing, and I fell head over heels in love with the whole idea of embellishing with embroidery. But it forced me to think creatively, and hopefully I'll never stop that creative process. But today, there's so much out there, but that can be a little bit of a snare as well, because like I said, you see one person does it this way and one person does, and I can't help it. Oftentimes I'll watch something and I'll go like, I don't know if that's going to work, but hey, we all have our ways of doing things. And hopefully I could share some things that help everybody have a successful embroidery life. And with the combination of Stitch It, International, all the products you need, the machines you need, the supplies you need, down to the curved tip scissors that I couldn't find. You have it all there, Blaine. You could do for everybody what they need to make their embroidery life beautiful.
Well, thanks, Joanne. Again, thank you so much for doing this today. I tell you, it was awesome. And hopefully the Stitch Nation we can convince you to come back again and do some more of this kind of stuff.
I absolutely will. I got another little time that I need to take a little bit of break for some priorities, but I'm itching to stitch and get back into the sewing world. So
Well, good. That's good news. All right, Joanne. Well, have a
Thank
wonderful
you.
day, and we'll see you
Enjoy
again
the
real
show,
soon.
rest
Okay?
of the show. Thank you.
All right. All right, everybody. Fantastic. I hope y'all got a lot out of that. I'm telling you, I'm blown away by some of the things that she was showing. And again, that just kind of is a chance to take your embroidery up to another level. But hey, speaking to another level, we're going to continue on with the show, and we have another fantastic guest. And we have Dawn Chace coming in. She's the owner of Creative Applique. Now, Dawn, that is a lot of stuff that she's done, but I know she's been, sewing over 50 years, and she created the Creative Applique, and what a great a website that is. I think she has 7,000 designs now. There's so many designs on there. Y'all need to go check it out at creativeapplique.com. And I also always got to say a big shout out to Dawn. She is the one that's supplying our designs for our swag that we give away, the Crazy Sewing Lady and the sewing coffee. I can't remember that, Roger, and chocolate. And so anyway, she's here today. She's going to talk all about the MAS 12 needle from SWF. So y'all give a big Stitch Nation welcome to Dawn Chace. Hey, Dawn.
Hi, Blaine. Hi.
How are you?
I am great. I'm so excited to be here with you and Stitch Nation to talk about the SWF MAS 12.
Man, this has been a big hit.
I have my vest too. I love it.
That has been a big hit, those designs. And I tell you, I love your designs that you do. And, we got some exciting news to share too, don't we, Dawn, we have an exclusive design bundle, and I'm going to talk about it a little bit later in the week, that Dawn did just for Stitch It. And we've got 10 design bundles that are going to be exclusive to us and the Stitch Nation, and we're going to unveil those hopefully this month, so y'all can see them. And we're going to have some specials on them to kick the show off. But oh man, I can't wait to unveil those. But I know you're going to talk all about, you're kind of switching to gears today, talking all about this machine, because I know you're a big SWF fan. So I'm going to let you get going on it, and then I'll come back and tell them how to get it. And we'll, at the end, if y'all want to save all your questions for the machine too, toward the end, we'll try to answer all those for you as well. So, all right, Dawn, take it away.
Thank you. Thank you, Blaine. Thank you, Stitch Nation. I'm so excited to be here today and talk to you about the SWF MAS 12 needle machine. As you see, this is a single head machine and it has 12 needles. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the machine, and then we'll talk about the touch screen, and then we'll go ahead and stitch something quick for you to see. So the machine itself, it's a compact design, but even though it's really sleek and compact, it comes packed full with so many features that completely set it apart from just about every other embroidery machine in its class. Since it has a tiny footprint, it's great to fit into smaller spaces that you may have. So if you have a limited space, this will fit in a much smaller space than a larger commercial machine would. So its dimensions are about 33 inches wide by about 35 inches deep and about 31 inches high. It weighs 85 pounds. And when you purchase this machine, the stand it is on is included as well. So let me put you down there for a little bit and see. So you can see there are 2 shelves on it. And the stand is pretty simple to put together. So from unboxing to getting the machine plugged in and turned on, you could probably do that in about an hour's worth of time. The stand, there are videos that they have on Stitch It's website. They also have some videos on YouTube as well on how to put the stand together. The only other thing that you'll need to put together is the thread tree up here, the thread rack, and that's 3 pieces. It goes together super fast. The other thing that comes from the factory preloaded as well is all the threads, all 12 of the threads are already, the thread path is already through the the tree of the machine. So all you have to do is put your spools onto the racks, tie the knot, and then pull them from down here. Super fast, super simple, and easy to do. And that's a wonderful thing, that you're not going to have to spend hours going through every single thread path to get every single one of the 12 needles threaded. So that's really cool. However, if perchance you're so super busy with all your stitching, you don't realize that a thread cone has completely ended and you're going to have to start from scratch, there are videos there to show you how to thread the machine as well. So let me see what else I wanted to tell you about here. Let's switch you to the machine so you can see this. Right now I have loaded on it the cap frame. And this cap frame here, it is their proprietary patented quick change cap system. So this cap system is toolless. You don't have to move any arms. You don't have to use any screws or thumb nuts or anything. It's completely toolless and simple transition from cap to hoop. So if you see the cap hoop is on here, all I'm going to do is lift up on either side here. I've got it seated in there nice and tight, and you simply pull it off just like that. Just that fast, the cap system is now off, and I can transition to stitching a regular hooped design. So that is an awesome feature about this machine, that it's so quick and fast and easy to go from cap to frame hoop and back to caps again. It's essentially less than 15 to 20 seconds to change it out. You can see here, there's a small cylinder tubular arm, which is great for pockets or socks, sleeves, pant legs, etc. Anything that's thin like that you want to be stitching, you've got a nice thin arm here. This machine comes with an industry-leading 7-year warranty. So that is really exceptional for a machine of this capability, price, quality, and size. The sewing field you have is 14 inches by 9 inches. So that's a nice large sewing field that would help you to do jacket backs. You can even do shower curtains. That's great for some nice quilt blocks if you're embroidering quilt blocks. So that is a great surface area to stitch. The maximum running speed of this machine is 1,000 stitches per minute, and the lowest speed is 300 stitches per minute. The cap sewing field is 360 millimeters by 75 millimeters. So that's essentially like when the cap frame goes around, that's about 13 inches by almost 3 inches, 2.95 inches. That's a large sewing area for a cap. Most cap systems are about 2.5 inches, and some commercial machines are even smaller than that. So this cap system on here allows you to go literally from ear to ear, so about 270 degrees of stitching. So that's an excellent feature about this machine. As you can see here, it has an LED lighting system, which was really cool about this is you can lift it up. If you're going and threading your machine and this is kind of in the way, you can just lift it up and then set it right back down. I'm not sure if you all can see, but there's also a laser light here for when you're tracing the design. When I trace it later, hopefully we'll be able to see that a little bit better. Let's see what else. It has automatic thread trimming. So I'm doing a really simple design today, but it's 3 colors. And so you'll see how when it goes and it finishes a color, it will trim the thread on that. And it has automatic thread break detection, which means the machine will stop when either the top thread runs out, God forbid, right? Or the bobbin runs out. So if the bobbin runs out, the machine is going to stop. It's going to flash on the screen the number of the needle that is having the issue, and then it will go ahead, and once you put a new bobbin in there or rethread, you simply touch the screen and you can back up the design a few stitches if you need to and press go. The only maintenance on this machine, which is for really low maintenance, you have to oil the bobbin area about once a day. So if you're sewing about, 5, 6, 7 hours a day, once a day or every time you replace a new bobbin. And then there's another part back up here behind the head here where it's one spot to add a drop. And that's it. You add the drop of oil and the machine goes and does it all itself. So that's really amazing as well. So let me see what else I have potentially missed here in talking about the machine before we switch over to the control panel. And because I'm doing this all on my own here, I can't read the questions as I'm doing the talking. So hopefully, if you have questions, if you can remember them to the end and put like question marks in front of them, that would really help as well. All right, so let's change over to the screen here and talk about the screen. So this screen here is a 10.4-inch LCD touchscreen. Also, I'm not sure you can tell, I think you can, but it's also a full color touchscreen. That's huge to have a full color screen here and be a touch screen. So that's an amazing feature about this machine. It has larger buttons on the bottom here. So if you're anything like me, getting older, excuse me, you can see the big, large buttons very nicely. This is jam-packed with tons and tons of information here to show you all the things that you need to. And we'll go over some of the buttons quickly here. Let's see. Oh, you can transfer designs wirelessly to this machine. So even if you have a PC or a Mac running Parallels or some other Windows compatibility installed on your Mac, you can transfer designs wirelessly to this machine. I absolutely love that feature because I'm digitizing all day long. I want to do a test stitch. I need to know if it's going to stitch out. I can just turn my machine on, open the SWNS software that comes with the machine. It's a free download. And I open the design in that software and I send it wirelessly to the machine. My machine does a little doo-doo-doo. It's so cool, the little noise. And I know that the design is on the machine. Alternately, there are 2 USB ports up in the back here at the top of the touchscreen behind that you can load designs onto the machine with as well. So let me see something. Okay. Let's load the design now. So you would simply touch on design. There are multiple places. Oh, it's already plugged in. There are multiple places here to show you where the designs are on the machine. So this one here says design. So these are loaded to the machine. Then there's user. So if you have multiple people using the machine, you can load multiple designs to the machine per user. Then you can see here the 2 USB spots that you have. So when it's yellow like that, it will show you that that is a USB stick that is plugged in. This one here that says USB 2 is grayed out because I don't have a USB plugged in there. So you can see that there are multiple places to get the design. So I'm going to go back to design here. And I'm going to touch on, let's see, we're going to go into user. And I'm going to take you through the process of setting this up. So we're going to stitch this name today, Eva. So I touched on Eva. Now, I don't know if one of the things you noticed about this machine, this touch screen as well, is you can see the photos of all of what the designs are that I have loaded here. Don't worry about the colors. That doesn't matter because we'll set those in the next step. However, I can see instead of it just being a number or just being a few letters of the design name, I have the photos of all of these designs here, exactly what I can see what I am going to be stitching. So I click on Ava, you can see it's grayed out. Now I'm going to click on this button here, over here. One of the things you can see is it's the name of the design. So here it says design 1, but when the design is selected, over here it tells me what it is. So it's Eva, but I put in the title Granny Smith. That's the name of the font that is used for this design. It's one of my fonts, and it's going to be in one of the exclusive packages that Blaine has when he'll be listing them on the Stitch It website. But it tells you how many total stitches there are. It tells you the x-axis, how big it is. So that's how wide it is. The y-axis tells me how tall it is. This tells me the number of colors that are in the machine. This, oh, I don't have my glasses. I can't see that. And then 0 settings. So Eva, and now I'm going to click on this to load it to the machine. Now it brings me up to this screen. This screen, there's multiple things we can do with it. So the way I'm stitching this is I'm going to stitch in on a shirt, but I am loading the shirt upside down into the machine. So I'm loading it from the waist, not from the neckline. So I want to rotate the design. So I need the angle to be at 180 degrees. So how to do that is you would click on design and you would click on angle and you would type in 180. I had already done that because I saved it, and click on OK. And then when we finally load it on to be stitched, you will see the design will have rotated 180 degrees. This is important too for when you're stitching on caps. You want to make sure that the design you're stitching on a cap has been rotated 180 degrees. So now that we've done that, we are going to click on close. So you can see here, it's still here and it has colors. So one of the things I'm going to do is now I'm going to click on needle. In this screen, it shows you all the colors I have loaded onto my machine. So you can change these color blocks. So the number 1 looks like it's a purple, but I have that actually in white. And the reason why I choose this purple color is because I very rarely stitch with that color. But when you choose white for the number, it makes it, you click on color, and this way, this is where you can change all of the actual spools that you have on your machine. So as I was mentioning, for number 1, I have white, but if you choose white as the color for this, when you're on the screen, you can't see the white. So I choose this purplish magenta color because I very, very rarely ever stitch in that color to make, that's my white color. So, but I have gone through and have them numbered exactly in the colors that I have loaded on my machine right now. So black is 2 and red is 3 and navy is 4 and brown is 5 and gray is 6 and on. So all you would do is click on over here. And so we'll just do like this, say number, we need yellow, and we'll click on in the spot right here on the number 11. And then when you click on save, the needle color has saved, and click OK, and it closes. And so this is how, that's how you can set the color blocks, by clicking on this color right here, and it opens up that window for you to be able to set your color blocks. That way, when you are now choosing the needle numbers, so the first thing that's going to stitch is my E. Well, I'm stitching on a white blank, so I don't want the color white to stitch. I want the color hot pink to stitch, and for me that's a 7. So now for the, once you saw that, so the first one I clicked on 7, and you'll see over here, once I click on it, it'll go down to the next step. So number 2 I want to have is turquoise, and then number 3 I want to have is my light pink. Once I've selected all those colors, and you can see the needle numbers 7, 8, and 10, that's how it is on my machine here. I'm going to click on close. Now, one of the things you can see here, so you can see the design information. I have the needle numbers here that are assigned. I can mirror it if I wanted to. I don't need to mirror it. It tells you, it always comes in at 100% size-wise. I'm not changing that. The angle we changed to 180 degrees because we needed to flip that. And we wanted to start stitching at 0. So there's 3 other buttons down here that you need to look at before. So you can just save it, which will save to your machine. You can load it, which is just going to load it to the machine to stitch. But if you're doing multiples of the same design over and over and over again, you want to make sure you save it and load it. So that way it's going to save it to the machine. When this will then pop up and it'll say the design has changed. Do you want to save the changes? If you don't want to, you could click on no. If you want to, you can click at yes, and that will overwrite the design that you currently have on the machine. You can click save new one, and that will create a brand new design with all of this information, the angle, the thread colors, and all of that. So I'm going to click yes because I want it to overwrite the one I already have. So when you're going ahead and you're stitching, next time, all you have to do is load your blank onto your hoop and put it on the machine and pretty much press go. So now you can see it flipped the design for me right there. You can see Eva is now upside down as I want it to be. Let's see what else. So if you look right here, you can see this little flower design. That's just a generic design. What this does help with, though, it tells you how high. So down here you can see it says inches. It tells you how high the design is, but it also tells you how wide the design is. If you tap on that screen, it's going to change it to millimeters. So now you can see it's in millimeters, and it tells you how high and how wide it is in millimeters. So that's a really cool, convenient thing. It tells you how many stitches are here. Let's see, the thread colors, it's rotated 180 degrees, it's still 100%, and then the actual numbers of the letters. This is the machine speed. This is my comfortable spot, but you can change it right here on this screen up to 1,000 and change it back down. You can do this in real time too, even when the machine is stitching. So let's load the hoop to the machine. Oh, I think one thing I forgot to tell you is the memory on this machine is 480 million stitch memory. 480, 000, 000. 480 million stitch memory. You also have up to 400 design slots on the machine. So in those folders, on the screen here when we were back in these folders, you can have up to 400 designs in here. So we're back to that screen. All right, so at the machine now, I have hooped my shirt, the little girl's shirt here, and I hooped it this way. So the frames here have an open spot like a U on one side, and then a side U on the other side. So this is how I know the frame is going to go in. It needs to go with this open part on the right hand arm here. So I'm going to simply load it. So I get the shirt and pull it underneath. And on the back, I have ironed on fusible mesh stabilizer, which I use with all knits, especially little kids' knits, because of the fact that it's so soft. So I already have that stabilizer inside the hoop there. All right, so now we're going to go back to the screen here because I want to show you a few more things on here. So the next thing I'm going to click on, so we chose our design. If you forgot to rotate the design on the previous selection screen, you can go into settings. Into settings, you can change it here by simply highlighting it, typing in the number, and clicking OK. There's also a whole bunch of other things I don't have time to get into today, but you can change so many other functions here on this actual machine. One of the ones I love, because I do a lot of applique, is the offset move. That way, when you can program that into the design as you're stitching it, so if you stitch the placement stitch, you want the frame to offset move forward, out, towards you, so you can place the fabric. Place the fabric, press the start button, the machine will move back, start going, have the offset move again, it'll move towards you, and then you can trim the fabric and go. So we'll have to do a live on that sometime to talk all about the applique and the offset move feature, because that's incredible, saves you a lot of time. So anyway, just wanted to touch on that. All right, so the next thing is going into the frames. So if I did that too fast, I'm here on the frame button. I'm clicking on that. Now, this is where you can do a trace, but you can also choose your hoop size. So I touch hoops. So these are a bunch of ones that we'll talk about them in a minute. When this is stitching, I'll tell you about the sizes of the hoops. Frames, but these are a lot of the preloaded ones that come with the machine. This is also the cap ones here. So going back to flat, today I'm using the SRF 15, so that's why it's selected. If it wasn't selected, then I would select it and it says frame center origin flat. Would you like to start? And when I press OK, the machine is going to go ahead and center it on the frame. It might not move right now because I've already have it set, but I'll switch you to the machine and I'm going to touch OK. And yeah, it just did the beep, 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 meaning I'm there, I'm at that spot, that's where I'm supposed to be. Okay, so back to the screen here. So we've set the frame where we are, and I'm going to click on close. The next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go back into frame. I'm going to go to trace. There are two separate traces here. Garrett talked about this a little bit earlier. These rectangle trace, so you can see that's just going to do a rectangle trace around the design. That's, you know, standard fine. But this is the one I love the most. It's the outline. Can you see how the line goes down around here? It goes right against where the stitching is. You can increase the area, or you can decrease it. I like, as Garrett mentioned, I like boundary to be set to 0, so it's right up against. I know exactly where it's going to be stitching. Let me switch you to the machine. So actually, I'm going to touch here. This is the play button right here. I'm going to touch play, and it's going to say, would you like to start? I'm going to switch you to the machine so you can watch it, and then I'll click OK. I trace everything all the time. It is the best habit to get into. It is equivalent to measure twice, cut once. Because if you don't, you can be into a world of problem, not just with, you know, ruining the blank that you're stitching on, but also damage to your machine. So we don't want that. Okay, so we traced it. It looks great. It looks fine. It's within the bounds of the frame here. Did you see the laser? I don't think you can see the laser. Let me try to get you closer here to see if we can get you to see the laser. Right there. You see the laser? Let's trace that again so you can see that. You can see the laser there. You can see it exactly where it's going to stitch. All right. So wanted to make sure you did see that. Okay. Sorry about the movement. I just wanted to make sure you got to see that the laser there. All right. So now to get out of this screen, all I do is press close because I've already traced it and everything. And now I'm ready to start because I have the design rotated 180 degrees. I've selected my thread colors. I have chosen my hoop size and I've traced it. So now all I do is I press start up here, the start button right there, the gray one, and it will get started. So I'll press that and now we'll switch to the machine. So one of the things is I want to switch you back to the screen because you can't see very well what's going on here, can you? The light is so bright. Sorry guys, I hate moving the camera in the middle of something, but I want to try to see the stitching. Okay, so I'm going to actually switch you back to the camera for the screen for a second to show you. Can you see the colors that are going? So this is the color block I have chosen, my hot pink, and you can see the gray is changing to hot pink. Now, when I press stop on the machine, you can see exactly where you are. So if there was an issue with the design stopping, you can see where the needle is exactly at. And if you need to back up a bit because of a thread break or whatever, you can do that. But as the design stitches, all of these are going to change to the color that I have associated with my color block for the threads that are loaded to my machine. I hope that makes sense. So you saw that automatic thread trim right there. Now it's an automatic thread change. So we changed the color to the second color, and you can see now that we got a second color going on. I'm gonna lift up that laser light for a minute. Nope, that didn't change it. Did it? There we go. I think that looks better. So this machine includes 12 frames. All of the frames that you get 2 of each size of the frames. So if you were doing something like this repeatedly, I have one going on the machine right now, and I can be off hooping the second one, ready to go with this, the next one I have to stitch. So I'll talk about the sizes in a minute when we get finished stitching here. See that? Okay. This happens for a reason, you guys, so you guys can see what's going on here. All right, so let me take you to the actual screen. So this is what happens when it says, yo, needle 10 is not happy, not working right, needs your attention. So let me see what's going on with needle 10. So it's still threaded. So I'm wondering if something went on with the bobbin. All right, switch you to the machine. And yes, so the thread came out of the little pigtail here on the bobbin. So just put that right back in there, put it in, and click it. You have to hear that click to make sure it's in there. All right, so now at the screen here, I'm going to click on close. All right, and because I didn't really have a whole lot with it starting to stitch on this A, I'm still going to back it up a little bit to get it started. So one of the ways you can do a float really easily is just press the stop button. And I'm just going to be repeatedly pressing the stop button, but I'm going to switch you to the machine so you can see what's going on. So I'm pressing the stop button just to go back to the beginning of where it started. And I'm following it along. There's the little yellow cursor thing there. I'm following it along to get to the beginning somewhat. I don't really need to get all the way back to the beginning because it's just the underlay. All right, back to the machine. We're going to press start. And we're back in business. All right. Just looking through to make sure there's nothing I've forgotten. It also has the smart embroidery system like the one Garrett talked about on the 7 needle. That you can go in there and you can draw something, you can import a picture, all of those things to be able to make something personalized as well. So that's also a feature that's included with this machine. You can also add multiple designs. If you're doing patches, you can load one patch and then you can multiply it and do multiple patches all at once while you're stitching as well. So with the machine, you get the stand, you get some tools and some parts, kits. You get the manuals. You get the SWNS software. That's free software that allows you to wirelessly transport your designs to your machine. Okay. So you saw that it went back to center. The machine went back to the center starting point. This way, when you go ahead and you have your other 15 centimeter frame all loaded up, ready to go with the design that you're going to stitch next in the same hoop size, all the things the same, it is starting exactly in the center spot where you left it. So I'm going to remove it from the machine now. And you can see how beautiful that's stitched. Look at the quality of that stitch. Professional quality, gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. Little Granny Smith embroidery font. Okay, so now let's go back to, switch you back to me. And I'm going to show you the hoops that are included with the machine. So as I mentioned before, you get 2 of each hoop size. So this is the 12 centimeter that you get. So this is about 4 inches. It's a good left chest, right chest logo size. You receive 2 15 centimeters. So these are about 5.5 inches, approximately 5.5 inches, a little bit bigger design. This would be great for some crazy sewing lady and sewing chocolate and coffee designs. We also have an 18 centimeter, which is about a 6.6 size, which is great for, you know, little onesies and birthday shirts, among other things. We also have the 24 by 24. So this is about a 9 by 9. So this is a good size for like a jacket back, a shower curtain, really large towels. You know, if you want to do a huge monogram, great for that. And then the mumbo jumbo one we have is 36 by 26. So it's about 13 by 9. So this is great for a lot of in-hoop projects, you know, zipper bags and mini quilt hangings and, you know, jacket backs as well, larger things like that. And then you also receive 2 of these. These are the cap frames. So these are the cap frames that you put the cap on. And if you saw earlier, I don't know if you saw it when we were at the machine. Nope, that's not it. Back here. Oh, over there, I think I'm done with the machine, so I'll move this out of the way. Over here is where I have this mounted on my stand here. And this is the device that allows you to put these cap frames on. You mount the cap frame on there, and then you hoop the hat on there. And it's really super simple and easy to be able to get the cap correctly hooped and placed. And then you snap this off, and then this will snap into the cap driver that is loaded onto the machine. It was the thing that I took off from the very beginning. All right. So If you're looking for a really cost-effective machine with a really small footprint that packs a punch and has super professional, high-quality stitching and allows you to do so many things from structured caps to any kind of flat laying embroidery machine design, or tubular things, right? Like t-shirts, bags, anything like that. This is a great machine. It has just about the best of everything for a great price point, and it has all the technology and design and reliability for its size. So let me know if you have any questions. If not, we'll pop back to Blaine and he can tell you. Can we see the back of the stitching? Yep. Show you right there, up close and personal. That's the back of the stitching. There's no looping, there's no bunching. It's absolutely perfection. It's beautiful. Any other questions? USB ports. There are 2 USB ports and they're right back up in here. You put two, you can load 2 and have them there. You can leave them there, or you can, you'll need to take them and put the designs on from your computer. But yeah, if you don't have the Wi-Fi capability, then that's an option to do the USB ports. Anything else? If not, Blaine, I hope you're still with us and not rained out.
No, everything's great. That was a great demonstration, Dawn. I mean, fantastic. Thank you so much. And again, we'll see you tomorrow for sure, because Dawn's going to be back tomorrow doing an educational session.
Yes.
So that's going to be great. All right,
Yep.
Dawn, let me tell them how they can get this. Thank you so much. Great demonstration as well. And so this is the 12 needle MAS SWF. And so I know this machine extremely well. I've been selling these for a long time. And again, you see the price, $12,999. Now, one thing that I'm going to say, when you compare embroidery machines, a lot of times, it's easy to get kind of, I guess, jaded by all the bells and whistles of different things that, they have on different machines. But this one has got everything you absolutely need to do professional type embroidery. And that's one thing I kind of want to stress. This is a consumer pro machine, meaning if you wanted to get in, if you just want to do it as a hobby, great machine. But if you really want to do professional embroidery, if you want to get into professional embroidery, you want to do it as a home-based business, this is going to be a workhorse for you. And again, we have a call-in special today. You need to call. If you're interested in one of these machines, give us a call, because we got a great special on it. We also have financing available. So we have a couple different financing methods. Give us a call, 888-571-2171. Lacey will take your calls. And please be patient, everybody. If you can't get through on the phone, Roger, if you would, in the chat right now, put that Jot form link up there. We'll put a Jot form, and that means you can just go fill that form out. Hit the link, fill the form out, and we will give you a call back. I just went over there and checked on her just a minute ago, and she's been nonstop on the phone. She was on the phone. I couldn't even talk to her, and the phone's been ringing off the hook since we started the show with her. So just be patient if you want to continue to call in. If you just don't have time to sit there and keep calling, and talk to Lacey, get and fill that Jot form out. Roger just put it in the chat, and that'll get you there. But I tell you, I really do love this machine. And what is so awesome about this, the laser light is fantastic. You can see exactly where your needle is going to be. And then all the things that comes with this. There's not many embroidery machines out there that you get the hoop selection. I mean, think about that for a minute. You're getting 5 different sizes of hoops and 2 of each size. So like Dawn said, you could be, having one embroidery in right now, and you can be over there hooping up the next one. So if you're trying to do production, do things fast, and I'm going to tell you, just the swag that we're giving away on the show with the jackets and the vest and things, doing those, again, I want to be able to go over there and knock them out pretty quick. So what's so nice about this is we can have one actually on the machine sewing and have the next one already hooped and ready to go. So as soon as it's done, we pull it off, put the next one on, and get going. So if you had a little run of you want to do some towels for somebody for a present, or if you want to do anything like that, onesies, you can knock out several different items very quickly just because you're getting these extra hoops. And then the hat, that's a completely different. That hat driver you're getting 2 hat hoops that come with the driver. And again, it's the same thing. If you're doing a hat and you wanted to do, you know, your grandson or your son's a little league baseball team, you want to do some special hats for them. You know, you could knock out, 12, 15 hats pretty quick because you can have one hooped up and one sewing at the same time and just quickly switch them out. So all you're waiting on is the machine. The machine's not going to be waiting on you. And that's what's so awesome about having those. And then not to mention you're getting that heavy duty stand that comes with it to put this on. And again, it's just fantastic. And I tell you, you're getting 12 needles. So think about all the colors. You can put the most popular colors that you're going to use on there and you'll never have to change the colors. And the other thing I love about this machine, when you get it in, it comes in a crate. It's going to come in a crate. It's ready to go. It's already pre-threaded. So all you'll have to do is tie your thread onto the thread it's there, pull it through, and then put it through the needle. And again, it's really simple to do that. And again, I love this machine. And I think if you're in the market for a multi-needle machine, this is a great machine to look at. The price point is fantastic. And we got a great special on it today. And we have that financing. So get on that phone and give us a call if you're interested in the 7 needle or the 12 needle that you saw on the show today. Now, I want to talk about, Roger, you can come back to me if you want to. I want to talk about the other 2 single head machines that we have. And when we say single heads, because we sell the multiple heads as well from SWF, but the single heads are just like you saw, the 7 and 12 are the single heads with multiple needles. We also have a 15, MAS 15 available, great special on it today. And then we have the professional series. It's called a KX 1501. Now that is truly a 100% commercial professional machine, and it is a workhorse as well. And the difference between them is just going to have a little bit stronger motors in it. So the interfaces and things are all going to be the same, but the motors, it's going to be, it's one of those machines you can run it 24 hours a day nonstop and never stop, and it's just going to continue for years. So that's the difference. If you want to go truly, if you had an embroidery shop, that's the one you want to have if you want a single needle or single head, I should say. So anyway, great specials on those machines today. So make sure if y'all, if you want to get somebody to call you back, fill out that job form link or just keep calling and trying to get through to Lacey. So she would love to talk to you. So, all right, Roger, I think it is time to give some stuff away on today's show. That concludes. And hey, we did pretty good. We are only 2.5 hours today. And I think the show tomorrow is going to be similar. So let me talk a little bit. If I can pull that up, I'm going to try to pull the schedule up, Roger, if I can find it. All right. Or if I can even read it, let me say. All right. So tomorrow, we are going to have Janome in the house. We got our buddy Sam Fung is going to be here. Sam is going to do a demo tomorrow on a 4-needle Janome MB4. And he's also going to do the 7-needle MB7. He's going to be doing demos on that. And then we got Dawn Chace is going to come back in, and she's actually going to be doing a demonstration tomorrow. I'm sorry, I keep saying tomorrow, next week, next Wednesday. I'll get it. So we also have, I think I've got the wrong schedule pulled up. Dawn looked at me crazy when I said that. So I think she probably thought because I gave the wrong date. So let me talk about next week's show. Dawn is not going to be on next week. It's the following week after that. She's coming back. All right. So we do have Sam Fung coming in, and we're going to have 2 educational sessions next Wednesday. Okay. So next Wednesday, we're going to have Sam Fung with the Janome MB4, MB7. We're going to have Stephanie Young is going to be here, and she's going to be talking about all about sublimation printing And then Reen Wilcoxon from Embroidery Garden is going to be here. And then Reen is going to do an In the Hoop project using sublimation printing that Stephanie does, incorporating it into an In the Hoop design. So what they're wanting to do is show you how you can incorporate, sublimation printing into your embroidery designs and appliques and things. So that is going to be awesome. So that is next Wednesday's show. Y'all don't want to miss. And again, it'll probably be about 2.5 hour show. So you don't want to miss that. All right. So Roger, I think it's time to give some stuff away. What do you think?
Let's do it.
Question, Roger, did you learn anything today?
I was watching and I can't. Okay, so let me say it was great to finally see the Sunny 7 working. Great to see that. So that's a machine I've always been interested in. And with Joanne Banko, the amount of knowledge she has on embroidery. I mean, I was trying to learn things and it just kept filling me up. I couldn't retain everything. So it was an amazing show. And Dawn with the 12 needle, she knows that machine inside and out.
Oh my gosh.
Great presentations today.
Well, you think about it, Roger. So Dawn has 7,000 designs on her website, embroidery designs that she's created. Okay. She's stitched out every one of those to make sure they're right. So think about how much she uses an embroidery machine every single day.
Wow. I mean, that's incredible. I went to her website and I saw all of her designs. Oh my geez. It's a lot.
Well, I'm really excited to launch, and hopefully we're going to have these ready for y'all next week, but we're going to launch. We have 10 exclusive design packs from Dawn that we're going to have just for Stitch It International. You'll get to see them, and each design pack has multiple designs in it, and it's pretty cool. I worked with Dawn on this we've been working on it for a few months, and I'm so happy it's finally done, and hopefully we'll have it all on the website and ready to launch next week. And I know Roger is working on that he's been working on that amongst a million other things he's been doing, but we're hoping we'll get that ready for you. And but let's give some stuff away. So I'd like to give away, let's start the whole show out. Let's give one of our tote bags away that has the Crazy Sewing Lady logo on it, Roger. And if you want to show that real quick, there it is right there. That is one of our Crazy Sewing Lady logos. This is from Dawn Chace. This is one of her designs, and I love these designs. And but Roger, do you have that wheel ready to go? I believe he does. There it is. All right, Roger, let's spin the wheel and let's get us a tote bag winner. Good luck, everybody.
Good luck.
I see a lot of familiar names coming through.
Marcella Pergin. Marcella. Congratulations, Marcella.
Congratulations, Marcella. She is watching today from YouTube. So how you're going to claim that prize is you're going to go to your email and you're going to shoot us an email to info@stitchitintl, stands for international. So stitchitintl.com, and give us all your information. Give us your shipping address, your full name, shipping address, all that good stuff, and we'll get that out to you. You have 30 days to claim your prizes, everybody, or it goes right back into the prize closet. All right, next up, Roger, let's give away one of our vests. Let's give the black Crazy Sewing Lady vest away. There it is right there. Let's give one of those. So, Roger, spin that wheel.
All right, good luck. And the winner is Dawn Gilbert.
So Dawn Gilbert, that's a name I recognize. So congratulations, Dawn. She is watching today from YouTube. So Dawn, to claim that prize, just shoot us an email to info@stitchitintl.com and let us know your full name, shipping address, and all that stuff. And most importantly, we need to know the size of vest you want. Now, let me tell you all about all the vests and all the jackets. They are all in women's sizes, and they are small through XXX. Now, if there's any gentlemen that win or watching, we do have men's sizes as well. So you'll just have to let us know if you want the men's size. Probably don't have all the men's sizes in all the different colors, but we do have a limited supply of some of the men's sizes. All right, Don, congratulations. So let's go over our next one, Roger. We're going to give one of the sewing coffee and chocolate jackets away. Let's do the vest. Let's do a navy blue.
Okay.
There it is right there. Navy blue one. I love these things. I think this is so great. All right, Roger, spin that wheel.
And spinning. Good luck. Cindy King.
We said the same time. Cindy's a good friend of ours as well. Been watching our shows for a long time. So Cindy, you know the drill. To claim that prize, just shoot us an email to info@stitchitintl.com. Let us know all your information. And most importantly, the size of navy blue vest you want. And we will get that all ready for you and get it shipped out. All right, next up, Roger, let's give away a black Crazy Sewing Lady jacket.
Okay, this one.
That one right there. Let's give that jacket because it's still cold in a lot of places.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's spin that wheel, Roger.
Okay, good luck, everyone.
I'm ready for it to warm up. I can tell you that.
Oh, I'm ready for summer.
Me too.
Cheryl Squirrel.
Cheryl's, is it Cheryl Squirrel?
Squirrel. Congratulations, Cheryl.
She is watching today from YouTube. So, Cheryl, what we need you to do is send us an email to info@stitchitintl.com. Let us know what size of jacket you want, small through XXX in women's sizes. Get all your shipping information there. We don't ship to PO boxes. Make sure it's a street address. Give us all that information, full name and everything, and we will get that out to you. All right. Lastly, we're going to give away one of the royal blue jackets, Roger.
Okay.
Right there. This is the Sewing Coffee and Chocolate is All I Need logo on it. So, Roger, spin that wheel.
Good luck.
And y'all in the comments, tell us if you love the swag or not. Lynn. Lynn's.
Samtinger?
Didn't we have this same problem before? Lynn won something before.
I believe so. It looks familiar, but congratulations again, Lynn.
Yeah, Lynn's watching today from YouTube. So we have a lot of people today watching from YouTube and Facebook. I saw a few people from Kick watching. So y'all just let us know. We are streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Kick, Rumble, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And we're streaming to all those channels today. But Lynn, how you're going to claim that jacket is you're going to send us an email to info@stitchitintl.com. Let us know the size of jacket you want, small through XXX in women's sizes. Make sure you put your full address and all that good stuff, your full name, and we will get that shipped out to you. All right. So everybody, we sure do appreciate y'all coming on today and watching the show. I hope y'all enjoyed it because I tell you what, Roger, I really enjoyed today. I tell you, Garrett's demo was great. Dawn's demo was great. And then Joanne, I mean, what can you say? Her education is always just top notch and always learn so much watching her and listening to her. But great show. Thank you everybody for joining in. And hey, next week's show is going to be just as good. And then it just keeps building up, doesn't it, Roger?
Yes, it does. And thank you all for joining us. I've been watching the comments all day, and everybody's having fun and chiming in, and we really do appreciate you being here with us.
Well, I think we're going to have to get us a vest, Roger, that have something, crazy dude something on it.
That would be cool. I'd like
crazy selling dudes. We may have to get Dawn to create us a new logo.
Yeah,
new design for just us. But hey, also I am working on I actually got it done. The logo is done. A Stitch Nation logo that looks like you.
Yes.
stitched it out, and I got it done. And all we got to do is get it digitized now, and that'll be some swag too. We're going to give away that says Stitch Nation on it, so that'll be kind of cool.
Nice.
So y'all stay
Nice.
tuned. That's coming. But anyway, thank y'all so much for spending some time with us today. Roger and I really enjoyed it. And again, we'll be here next week at 10 a.m. Central Time. Another great embroidery show all this month. Make sure y'all keep tuned in. Share it with your friends. Share it on your Facebook. Tell everybody about it. We want to grow the channel, and we sure do appreciate it. So, Roger, hope you have a good rest of your day. Hope everybody has a fantastic day. Have a great weekend. We'll see y'all next Wednesday morning.
See you, everybody.